Hello everyone, welcome to the 9th episode of my development diary for the game Stormbreak. In this episode I'm just going to run over a couple of things about different ways that I can and have been going about creating the different maps in the game. Now essentially, as far as I can tell at least, there are two ways of going about and making the environments in the game. The primary way, and the way that we'll see, say, in Norberg, is actually, you know what? Go down to the unnamed village. Everything is essentially placed down on the environment in blocks. So, boom, just placing blocks. Let's say I build a building here that I'm not going to keep. This is kind of a dumb thing. Okay, that's kind of not a good roof to have there. But you see what I mean here. You place everything down in blocks, and those blocks form your buildings, form your trees, all of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to put a tree there. Simple matter of dropping a tree in place. None of this stuff will be kept, but just an example of how everything is put together. And you can make some fairly detailed maps with this kind of area. But the problem comes from the fact that you are limited in what you can place down. There are only a few tile sets that you can throw together and use in any one particular map. And you're basically placed, I notice how the mouse is moving. Let's say we take this little tree here. The tree is either going to have to go here or it's going to have to go here. You can't put it in the middle. So everything has a kind of like very specific, everything is placed X number of inches or whatever apart from each other, and it doesn't feel particularly natural. But one of the advantages of going this way is it is very quick. It is also able to build very large maps. Now this is tentatively anyway the size that this map is going to be, but I could expand it to a gigantic map. But let's say I didn't want to do it this way. Another method that we could choose is to go like what I did with the festing map. Yeah, you'll never see that. This looks very similar to the way that map was put together. But one major difference is that it is all done pre-rendered. I had created all of these different assets. Well, the graphical assets are Pioneer Valley stuff, but I had created the map in Photoshop and then imported it as a PNG image into the game engine, and it's basically being used as a backdrop. And what this technology was originally put into the game engine for was for the purpose of parallax mapping, having an image in front and having an image in back, and they both move at different speeds. It's not really the way I'm using it here. So let's go. I mean, I don't have any tile sets set up, so I can't really drop anything directly into the map in the game editor. But if I load up Photoshop, here we are looking at the map. Now let's say I wanted to go and change something. I wanted to add something. I wanted to do something like, let's say, a tree. Well, how are we going to go do that? There's a few different ways I can carry that over, but let's say I'm going to go and bam. Now let's just drag that straight on. That may not have landed. Oh, well, there's my tree. Oh, shit. I didn't click on it. There we go. Got my tree. Because of the different layers in use at Photoshop, I would have to manipulate this tree up or down in order to place it over top of things that it's in front of or behind things that it's not in front of. This is a military base, so I don't really want trees to be that close to the wall. So I'm going to move this tree. Let's keep this tree in here, and I'm just going to move it down here where there isn't a whole lot of stuff. The tree is... ah, shit. I grabbed the weeds. Okay, it's sort of behind the weeds right now, but so I'm going to be dragging this thing. It's layer 62. So I'm going to drag it up quite a way. Just for, oh, it's okay. It's above the weeds. Alright. And I want a few of these trees to be, and now this is an area of the map that you're really not going to be going to. So it's not really important that this area be populated, but I'm going to jam a few of these trees all over the place, just to give it a slightly more populated look. And I'll stick other trees in this area too, you know, just to make it look a little bit more full. But everything is basically put down here in a raster image editor program. Now I can put some other stuff in here. I got busted walls, I have busted walls, I have busted walls, I have crap. Hey, look at that. I have I already have a fountain down, but wheelbarrows, that seems like a good idea. Windows, whatever you really want to put. Siege engines. Busted banners. Now that's really what I am after here. I want to jam a few busted banners on the outside of the wall. Now I already do have a few, these white ones. So I'm going to go and get a few more of those and stick them along the wall on the outside, just for fun. No layers are selected. You suck. Now this is a much more involved process than oh geez, why are you gonna not work for me now? This is a much more involved process than what I was doing before, but it has much better results. Okay, it's not working for me right now. I'm doing something stupid. I'll figure it out later. But one of the problems with this is obviously, like I mentioned, everything takes quite a bit more time. Now I can throw a map together. A basic map with the other editor of the program. Within, I don't know, 5 minutes I can have a map together and working. How does that look? I want it to kind of look like part of the wall used to exist and then was broken away and just never rebuilt. It's kind of the image that I'm looking for. Let me erase some unnecessary stuff. There we go. Haha! Cute. With the basic, with the normal image editor, or the RPG Maker thing here, I can build a map pretty quickly. This one took about 10 minutes or so to put together. You can get a simpler map going in like 2 or 3 minutes. You can be real quick with it. But it's less detail. This here, I can build a much more complex map. Everything looks really nice. And I can bunch things together, or rocks are bunched together, the swords are bunched together, the barrels, all that. The walls, the buildings, the trees, all that kind of stuff is all bunched together. The wagon's at a bit of a slant there. I'm assuming it's broken. All that kind of stuff you can do. But it takes a long time. And that is, I mean, as much as I'd like to be able to devote a ridiculous amount of time to doing this kind of thing, I really can't justify to myself spending hours upon hours building every single map in the game, even if it is something that I consider to be an important aspect, like the level design and all that kind of stuff. Also, if I decide that I don't like the way a level is turning out, I can, with the old way, with the standard RPG Maker method, I can just go and there we go. That's nice. I can just go and change it real quick. This, I have to jump in here. I have to jump into Photoshop. I have to delete things. I need to move stuff around. Alright, and all that kind of stuff, it does take longer. So the way I am doing it is I am taking some of the more important aspects, like the festing map is a very important map in the early parts of the game. Spend a fair amount of time in the area and all that kind of stuff. Doing all of that development there, spending the time needed to make this map look better. Expand that a bit. And deleting the old rocks. And for a lot of the other ones, I am not going to bother putting a shit ton of effort into it. Another disadvantage, and it's something that I will get into in a moment. Oh, jeez, this delete is not working out for me. That worked out alright. Okay, no, I made some changes. I put these broken walls aside from the small graveyard. I also put a broken wall over on this side of the map, and I will end up having more changes to this map before I'm all said and done. Because this map was essentially just a test map that I did before I actually started even developing the game, just to see what this kind of thing would look like. And it just sort of got rolled into the project proper. So I'm going to do more to it to make it look better before I'm finished. One of the problems with it is importing an image file into the RPG Maker is, well, it's not quite as cut and dry as building something in the regular level editor. Now you have to import it. I guess you could import it as a JPEG, but I'm gonna import it in as a PNG. Now I could say the file size of the image is a problem, and I'm having difficulty importing large file sizes in. So I'm going to save for the web in this case. And now Photoshop says that this probably won't work, but I'm going to do it anyway. It shouldn't be a problem. And instead of a 30 megabyte original, it's going to be about half of that. So I'm going to accept that. And it's going to be exported as festing exterior, replace. Now in the RPG Maker editor, notice it has not yet been done. I'm going to jump into the resource manager, import, oh crap, where the hell was it? Here it is. Festing exterior, bam. I got an error message. Don't crash on me. I will not tolerate you crashing on me. Yeah, you crashed. Kinda did that wrong, though. Okay, it crashed on me, but when I reloaded, I found out it had actually done and successfully did the copy. The problem was I manually copied it over. Rather than sticking around and doing it proper. So any map which is essentially identical will have the same kind of crap. So let's create this section as the character starting point, and I'll show you a little bit of a problem that I'm going to have to deal with. Now, since larger file sizes are a problem, look at this. Stopped at the wall. Oh, actually, you know what? I can't get over there. It's an invisible wall. The trees, though, you'll see what I mean with the trees. If I can get close enough to one. I don't want to fight you. I'm walking on top of that tree. That's a problem. I'm going to have to do something about that. But, I'm going to take care of that later. You not want to fight this dog. Go away! Leave me alone! Music is so depressing. But yeah, you can see all the changes that I've made. Now, as I've been mentioning a bunch of times, but failing to actually get to my point, the size of the map is actually somewhat limited, and it repeated down here, but you can't actually get close enough to that to see this weird error. So I'm not going to bother doing anything about that. But I can only import a map of a certain size. Now, if I zoom out to a quarter or an eighth, that is about as big of a map as I can manage with importing a pre-rendered background. Now, let's say I go and click Festing Cave. It's a much larger map because it was all built using the in-game editor. Now, this is I test ran through this thing, and I don't like the setup of this level, so I will end up changing it. And a lot of it is completely unoccupied space, stuff that you can't even access. All this space is inaccessible, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just supposed to be a long dungeon that you run through from one side to the other, fight some stuff, whatever. I'll change it and all, but it can be much larger. If this were a pre-rendered environment, I wouldn't be able to import all of this into the game. It just wouldn't work. Anyway, holy crap, 16 minutes and 15 seconds. Alright, ending the episode. Thanks for watching.